Welcome to training number 8, listening skills. This is a companion training to communication theory and will help your staff improve their listening skills. That's the outcome that you're looking for. Have your staff complete this little listening questionnaire before they come. Have them grade themselves and total up the points. And here in the box you can understand how a high score is going to be an effective listener and a low score is going to be a not so good listener. It's an interesting tool just to get your staff thinking about how well they listen. It's also good for you as a leader to remember that any self-evaluation has a question mark that always goes with it. We will always evaluate ourselves on our intent, not our actual behavior. So the scores that your staff will give themselves will typically be higher than what you would actually give them if you were an observer of their actual listening skills. So it's a good reminder for you that self-assessment is not a very good tool to actually get accurate results. Now, in the levels of listening, the understanding, the categories, or the basics, here are 7 levels of listening that your staff needs to be able to express. It begins with not listening, all the way to engaged listening. And what we're after is helping our staff become engaged. Look at the definition of engaged listening. It's being fully engaged in communication. It involves listening to other person's views, feelings, interpretations, values, etc. In engaged listening, both parties are given the opportunity to fully express their views and feelings and ideas. Now, typically in a client relationship, the engaged listening is going to be preceded by interpretive listening. What you're really trying to do is figure out what the person is saying. And so level number 5 is typically what you're after in terms of your case management to client relationships. So keep that in mind as you go through the training, that number 5, interpretive listening, is really the goal here. While you're listening, this is a good practice tool in any setting, but especially when you're listening to a client, here's some questions you can ask yourself while you're listening. This is an opportunity for you as a leader just to go through these questions and ask your staff how they actually apply when they're sitting there and listening to a client. Put yourself in a client situation and ask yourself these questions as you go through. Does this make any sense? Number 5, it's a great question. How does this relate to what I already know? If you're case management and you're in meeting number 4 with your client, you need to know how it connects with what you already know. These are some questions that would be good to have out on your desk every time you have a case management meeting. Then you want to walk them through the 12 steps of engaged listening, or the 12 options. These are options that you can use to enhance your listening, but they are indicators that you are actually engaged in listening. Restating, summarizing, minimal encouragers, and we give some examples here. Reflecting, giving feedback. This is one of the things that I think all of our staff needs to get better at, giving feedback. Emotional labeling is something that can help, especially when the client is struggling to actually express what they need to say. Probing, validation, effective pause and silence are key impacts. Typically, as case managers, we don't do a very good job with 9 and 10. It's something we need to work on. iMessages and redirecting. Out of these 12, it's important for you to walk your staff through and explain or show them how these actually apply when they're listening to a client. These also apply in terms of staff relationships, but when your staff has some words to put on their listening methods, it will enable them to get better in their listening skills.